Welcome back. As promised, we are going to look at compressing the samples to monoliths in this video. So in your final product, you're not going to have the WAV files, or should I say, you're not going to deliver the WAV files to the customer, to the end user. You're going to compress them into a monolith, and a monolith just means one file that contains the data from lots of other files. So we're going to take all the WAV files of our sustain sample map and compress them to a monolith, all the WAV files in our staccato sample map, and compress them to a separate monolith, and the same for the pizzicato. So we'll end up with 3 monoliths. Now if you have a lot of samples, many gigabytes of samples, you can actually have monoliths that are split into several files, and you might split them up every 500 megabytes or something like that. As you'll see in a minute, HISE does that for us automatically if we need it. Also, if you're working with multi-mic samples, you'll get a separate monolith for each microphone position. So to compress a single sample map, you can just come up and press this button here, and you see it says convert the current sample map to HLAC monolith format. And if we click that, it comes up with this box. It checks that we've got the right sample map selected, and if we don't, we can choose a different one. We can choose the normalization mode. A normalization here just means, do you want it to be 16 bits or 24 bits? And there's no reason not to select full dynamics. Full dynamics is 24 bits, so I always just go with that. And here's the split size. So that's what I was talking about. If you have many gigabytes of samples, you might want to split them up into smaller separate monoliths. This is a tiny sample map that we have here, so it's not really going to make a difference. Those are the various choices. Usually I wouldn't go beyond a gigabyte per monolith, because then you're delivering quite large files to people, and if something goes wrong with the download, then they've got to re-download a much larger file. I'm just going to leave this on 500 megabytes because we don't have that many WAV files to compress. And then click OK. And that's it. This has been converted to a monolith, and we can see up here that it says monolith, and that means HISE is now reading this sample map from the monolith. It's no longer reading from the WAV files. So if we deleted the WAV files, this sample map would still load. But don't ever delete your WAV files, because there isn't currently a way to convert a monolith back to WAV files. So you always want to keep your original files in case you ever need to edit them, or you want to adjust your sample map or anything like that. So always keep your original sample files. Okay, so we can now load the staccato sample map, and you'll notice I'm still in sampler 0, but I can load the staccato sample map here. It's not going to play right because we've got the modulators set up for X-fading and whatnot, but it's just while we compress them, save me having to switch between different samplers. So we can click this button again to compress this sample map, but doing them one at a time like this is a bit tedious, and in some situations you might have 10, 20 or even 100 sample maps, so you don't want to be doing them one at a time. So instead, you right-click in the mapping window and go down to Tools and select this one, re-encode all sample maps as HLAC monolith. So we click that and we get a similar window to the one we saw before. So leave this on yes, validate sample map IDs, leave this on full dynamics, and choose the split size. Now unfortunately we don't get the same choices for the split size in this window. It's not going to make a difference for this sample set because, as I say, we've hardly got any samples. In terms of file size, it's really small. So we can go with the smallest one, or we can go with the largest one. It won't make a difference. But just keep in mind, if you do want to have smaller split monoliths, you're going to have to go with the one at a time compression method, at least for the time being. That might be changed in the future. I might even go in and add that myself because I think I would like it to have a smaller option there. Okay, let's click OK. So we can see now this one says monolith, staccato says monolith, and sustain says monolith. Let's take a look at the project folder. So if we go to our samples folder now, we can see these are the 3 monolith files that have been created, and we can see the file size down here. Look, this is only 14.2 megabytes, this is 14 megabytes, and this is 73 megabytes for the sustain. So you see we're not hitting anywhere near that split size. That's why I said it won't make a difference in this situation. Let's see what compression we got overall. So if I select all of them, we can see the file size is about 100 megabytes. Let's see what the file size is for the original WAV files, and we can see it's closer to 182 megabytes. So we got some decent compression there, not quite 50%, but not bad. So when you deliver the final product to your customer or user, you just give them these 3 files, you don't send them the original WAV files. Now let's take a look at the sample maps. We'll open the sustain one. So this is what the sample map looks like. We can see the ID is sustain because that's the name we gave the file. We can see the number of round robin groups is 3, that's correct. There are no mic positions because we're not using multi-mics. And this is actually the crossfade shape we set for the loops. And then we see this one, save mode 2. So when the save mode is set to 2, that means we're in monolith mode. If we want to go back to using the wave files, we need to change this to 0 and save the sample map. Now we need to close HISE and reopen it. Reopen our project. And if we open the sampler, we can see that in the sustain sample map, it no longer has the monolith label. If we go to the staccato though, it's still there because we didn't change anything for that sample map. Or the pizzicato, they're still reading from the monolith. But the sustain now is reading from the wave files again. So if you want to revert your sample map from using the monoliths and get it back to using the wave files, you need to change the save mode to 0. Currently there's no way to do this from within the HISE GUI, which is a little annoying, but it's not too much trouble to just go in and change this value to 0. Let's change it back to 2. And close and reopen HISE again. And once again, our sustain sample map is reading from the monolith. Let's explore the sample map a little more. So we can see these sections, each one starts with a sample tag and ends with a / and the greater than sign. So this block represents a sample in our sample map, and it's got all the properties associated with that sample. So there's the root note, there's the low key, there's the high key, there's the low velocity, and there's the high velocity. There's the round robin group, and here we have the file name. Now notice that the file name starts with this project_folder, and that's because we've put the samples in the samples folder within our project folder. And you should always do that. If you don't do that, this will be like a full path to a folder on your system somewhere. So if you're on Windows, it might be something like C/ can't remember the Windows path, but it's something like user/documents/samples. It will be something like that, but it will be an absolute path to somewhere on your computer. And that means when you send this to somebody else, it won't work on their computer because the path will be different on their computer. They won't have the same folder structure you have, the username will be different, and we don't want that, of course. We want it to work on all systems, so that's why you must put the samples in your project samples folder. And then when we map the samples from the project samples folder, HISE automatically uses this project folder wildcard, and behind the scenes it translates it to the correct path, no matter which computer it's running on. So you can send this to a friend and it will still work as long as they keep the samples in the same location. After the file name, it says duplicate if this is a duplicate sample. That's for if you're using the same sample multiple times in the sample map. It has the normalized flag, so if we were normalizing the sample with that little button I showed you in the sample editor, we're not using it, so that's why it's 0. But we did click it at one point, which is why it says normalized peak. And this is the value it would be using internally to normalize the samples if the normalize button was enabled. After that, we can see the sample end, the sample rate of the sample, and the monolith offset and monolith length. So monolith offset and monolith length are what HISE is using internally to find out where the data for this particular sample exists within the monolith file. So you can see for the next sample, the monolith offset and the monolith length have different values. So you don't need to really worry about those. HISE is just taking care of it for us. And that basically repeats for the rest of the sample map. So here's the next sample, here's the next sample, and so on, all the way down. And this is really good because it means if you want to make some batch changes to your sample maps, you don't have to do it in HISE, you don't have to remap samples and all of that, you can just do it in a text editor. So if I decided I wanted to change the name of my sample from rustic violin to rustic viola, I could just use find replace on this. And where's find replace? Here it is. Find replace, so I could find the word violin and replace it with viola. And it says 48 matches, so then I could just go through and replace all of these, and it's done. And it's much easier than doing it through the GUI in HISE. There's also times you might come across issues with your sample map where for some reason the samples won't load and you don't quite know why, but because they won't load in HISE, you can't edit them in HISE, but you can still open the sample map in a text editor, find the problem and fix it. Okay, so we've looked at compressing the samples to monoliths, we've looked at the structure of the sample map and how you can change the save mode to switch between using the wave files or using the monolith files. That's it for this video. In the next one, we're going to start building out our GUI.